Well, hello there. My name is Mark Moss. I love helping trainers, presenters, workshop facilitators really take their results to the next level. And if you're watching the channel, do you know that what that is all about here, folks? Just sharing some wisdom, some insights, and some things that I've discovered over my career as I've been training and presenting, and just some things that really stand out to me as like a little bit obvious little markers here about what creates success in the training room or in workshops or online delivery, so to speak. And it's kind of frustrating that I may see it, but other people don't. And so in today's video, I want to talk to you about how you can really support introverts in an online session or even a face-to-face session if you are ever running a workshop or a training session. Now, as we would probably all know, in the common vernacular, we've got introverts and extroverts. And generally the way I define it is that an introvert would be someone that would gather energy by being alone. An extrovert, on the other hand, is someone that gathers energy by being around people. Now, it's very interesting when you're running a workshop because if you've got a combination of introverts and extroverts in a training room or in a training session or as part of your audience, well, you need to be able to respect both parties' needs and not be judgmental on either part as well, right? And it's interesting, I let the word part slip out of my mouth because essentially in any workshop or learning experience, you're going to have the four personality types. And this is bastardized from the Colby model or Honey and Mumford or whatever it may be. And essentially the part system was the pragmatists, the activists, the reflectors, and the theorists. So if you want to find out more about that, definitely check out my book that's coming out very shortly, in which I unpack that in a little bit of detail there. And I've certainly done other videos on the part model. Now, generally, let's come back to introverts and extroverts, right? What we need to appreciate about introverts is that they really have a sense of hesitancy and a sense of, can I feel comfortable in this learning environment and with these people? And is it going to be non-judgmental? Because what we often find with introverts is that for them, it's really a case of safety and trust that's really important to them. Because opening up as an introvert is a big deal and it's very scary. Once someone feels comfortable as an introvert to open up, then they will. But they're very selective in regards to who they do open up with because there needs to be that sense of safety. All right. So now that we put that frame around things, now let's have a chat about some ways that you can potentially make introverts feel even safer in a learning environment, right? And extroverts, on the other hand, they're just happy to talk and talk to everyone. And the more opportunity they get to talk, the happier they are, right? But introverts, on the other hand, as I said, they need that safety buffer or that sense of trust. It's like, am I going to look am I going to be judged? Am I going to be looked bad upon? Or, am I going to be made like to be looking like a fool? That criteria has to be like, we need to tick the boxes as a trainer and presenter for those people and make sure that those things are taken care of before they open up, right? So let's jump into some strategies. So I want to talk to you about 4 strategies you can use to make an introvert feel even more comfortable in a learning environment. All right, first one, icebreakers, right? Now, what we often find is that icebreakers, energizers, and what else have we got? Team building activities can get a little bit threatening for an introvert because it's like, do I trust these people? Oh my gosh, what will they think of me if I say something silly? Or if I do an activity like drawing, what are they going to think of my drawing? Or something with toilet paper or something crazy like that, right? So what you want to make sure is that any icebreaker that you do, it is very non-confrontational. What I mean by that is ideally the icebreakers that I generally suggest people do is keep it to 2 non-confrontational, innocuous questions. So if you're teaching on leadership, talk about, all right, go and meet someone, tell them in your life, who is the most empowering leader that you've ever had and why were they a great leader for you, right? Generally, those would be 2 innocuous questions that most people would feel comfortable to answer, right? So you need to think about, is the questions that you're using in your icebreaker, team building, or energizer or the nature of the activity. Is it going to make someone feel a little bit uncomfortable or put on the spot? And if it is, stop it. All right. Stop it. You can maybe do those things like halfway through your session or three-quarters way through once trust and safety has been built. Very, very, very important, right? Next one. Who do you call on and when? Who do you call on and when? So what we mean by this is you may be doing a debrief in the group, you may be, pairing people up, you may be eliciting answers from people. Now, a master trainer is somebody that can read the room really well and actually pick out the personality types and actually get contributions from the group in a structured order in your mind, and you're the person that can see it, but they can't. But you're the person that can go, all right, cool. We got Ted over here, and you don't say it, obviously, but in your own mind, you're thinking, all right, we got Ted over here. Now, Ted's a little bit of an introvert, he's a little bit more shy. So I'm going to pick on the little bit more boisterous people. We got Mary, and we got Jane, and we got Fred over here. I'm going to come to them first. Then I'm going to come to Ted over here last, right? If I got my names wrong, forgive me, whatever, right? But you want to come to the introvert, to the end or maybe in the middle once the introvert's heard other people's contributions, right? If you go to the introvert first of all, guaranteed this is what's going to happen. I don't know, mental blank, can you come back to me, right? That's what's going to be like for the introvert because they're like, oh, I need safety and I need trust to know that whatever I say is not going to be laughed at or it's going to be received well. And it's also going to be in a similar vein to what other people say. All right, cool. So first of all, we got icebreakers, make them comfortable, make them safe, make them innocuous. Second one is choose the sequence and order of when you hear from different people and get them to contribute. Next one, allow, this is going to be a crazy one, allow reflective thinking time. And this is something that introverts absolutely love, but extroverts are like, oh, that's painful, right? But to an introvert, this is a golden moment. They absolutely love it because they can be in their own space and they can think, they can process their own thoughts without the noise of everything that's going on, right? So allow reflective time. Say for the next 5 minutes, we're just going to sit here, process our thoughts, reflect on what we've just done over the last 5 minutes or the last 10 minutes or the last 30 minutes. I just want you to look over your notes. Then we're going to have a chat and we're going to debrief what we've covered over the last, whatever you want to do, however you want to integrate it, but integrate reflective thinking time. That's silence. And it's going to be gold. It's going to be the best thing that you can ever give an introvert, right? Next one. All right, here, folks. Very, very important. This one, why I've saved it to the last, right? Validate and acknowledge every single contribution and question that you get. You see, if you want someone to actually feel comfortable to ask a question, put up their hand or ask a question in that chat box, you need to be willing to actually go, Fred, that is an excellent question. I'm so glad that you brought that up. Fred, I'm really glad that you asked that question. It's a great question. And Fred, before I even answer that question, what's actually created the question for you? Fred, tell me a little bit more about what's going on for you. Now, how you respond to questions and how you actually answer questions is an indicator of safety for a learning environment for an introvert. And the thing is, if you don't acknowledge a question, you don't say thank you for the question, an introvert, or if you even worse, you slam down the question and that you make them feel like an idiot for asking the question, guaranteed you're going to get people that stop asking questions and they're like, whoa, fuck, I'm not going to ask a question because I'm just going to be made to look like an idiot, right? So you need to be very conscious if you are presenting, training, running a workshop, acknowledge every single question you get, compliment the person, and thank them for the question. Because if you do, then actually you are creating a higher level of safety, higher level of safety, higher level of safety. And we need to appreciate for introverts to learn, and even extroverts, there needs to be that safety buffer, all right? And ultimately, when we are actually creating a learning experience, The first thing is Maslow's hierarchy of needs. We need safety, folks. And if that ain't there, then we're really wasting our time with our learners. They're wasting our time with us. It's just not a healthy environment, right? So one of the fundamental things that you need to be constantly doing is reinforcing that sense of safety and non-judgment. All right, safety and non-judgment. All right. So today's video was all about how you can support introverts and shy people in a workshop environment or learning experience so that you really help them get the most out of whatever you deliver. Now, my tips that I'm sharing here are more so from my experience of being an introvert, right? So for me, when I present and train, I do come across as more of an extrovert, but lo and behold, I am a very, very strong introvert. I cannot, well, I could if I tried, or I do if I have to, socialize after a workshop event. But for me, delivering presentations and all of that can occasionally and often is very draining for me. So I need to very much modulate and manage my energy. And I've done other videos on how to do that if you are an introvert presenter. But hopefully you got some value from this video. I really want to encourage you to think if you are presenting, and very much so, the people that need to watch this video are more so the extroverts, right? The introverts are already getting this and already probably do this as part of their delivery sequence anyway, right? But I was very passionate about this topic because it came up for me in a conversation with someone in the industry recently. And I just wanted to really share some insights, some ways, some simple tactics that you can use to really engage and make an introvert feel even more comfortable in a learning environment, whatever that learning environment may be. All right. So on that note, thanks for watching the video, folks, and hopefully you got some value. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and let's get this message out there to the broader community of trainers in Australia and globally. Watching team, and we'll see you on the next one.